And if we focus on the body motions, right, to set up the downswing with the least amount of effort, we have to have two distinct, clear phases. And this is how I like to coach it with players I work with and my own swing. Phase number one is getting the lead side falling forward. And that you can reference with your lead shoulder, hip, or knee. And as we saw with the model there, from the top of the swing, right, he gets his lead shoulder back just inside of his trail foot up to the top, which helps. The lead shoulder goes down and forward. The lead knee goes forward. The lead hip goes forward. And my head actually goes down and forward a little bit as well. Now that kind of falling forward, as the pressure's working into my lead foot, is the first part of the downswing that's happening. The second phase is then my trail side, my hip and shoulder, firing through. You guys hear me say all the time that you need video feedback. And the newest version of Live View Golf is absolutely the best form of simultaneous video feedback. And not only is video the best way to give yourself feedback, but being able to see yourself simultaneously as you're doing a movement is the best form of video feedback. It's the best way I've seen to make changes in your swing and be able to correlate the differences between your feels and your reels. Live View is super easy to set up and use. Simply set it up behind or in front of you. You connect it with your iPad or your phone. You put that right on the ground. I can literally see myself as I'm swinging. It is the best form of practice. I encourage you guys to check out the newest version of Live View Golf. We'll put a link in the description down below with a coupon code. All right guys, in today's video, we're gonna be talking about what you need to feel in transition to set yourself up for an effortless downswing. Now, in my experience coaching, there's really two distinct phases of the downswing. There's the loading phase in early transition, which has a key move I wanna show you, and then the unloading phase through transition. So to set yourself up for that effortless downswing, you don't have to really think about anything as you go play. We have to do both of these well. Let's just hop over to Analyzer quick. I'm gonna give you some visuals. We'll come back, I'll explain how to feel them and the drills to do.
All right, so checking out Adam Scott here, face on and down the line. On the right, the face on video. I want to show you a couple pieces here. This initial movement that we need to start the downswing to really make things effortless and set up the pieces through the hit. So I'm going to draw a line down through the lead shoulder. It makes a full backswing turn. The left shoulder's just inside the trail ankle. Now, notice if we put a circle on the shoulder, the initial movement of the downswing. Watch this lead shoulder here. See how it separates from that line? Let me get rid of that circle here. See how it separates from that line? There's a separation from where he was on the way back. The lead shoulder is working down towards the ground and forward towards the target. So if we put the circle back on and we trace that motion, that lead shoulder's here, here, here. So from about the top of the backswing to about left arm parallel to the ground, notice how far forward the shoulder has got and down towards the ground, right? So if we look at sort of a directional arrow from where he was at the top of the backswing, that's going to be moving in about this direction. So once we get a full turn to the top, the first movement down as we're floating towards the target is down and forward of that lead shoulder. Now, is it just the lead shoulder that's doing that? No, right? Of course not. If we look at the lead knee, the left knee for him, and the lead hip, and we draw a little bit of a wall right here and here, we're going to notice not only does the lead shoulder work down and forward, right, but the lead hip and the lead knee are also working forward, more forward than down, just more or less straight towards the target. Now, of course, he's rotating as he's doing this, but what we're focusing on is the down and forward, the floating down and forward motion. Even if we look at the head motion there from the top, we're going to notice from the top of the backswing till about left arm parallel, down and forward, down and forward, down and forward. Now, big key on the left-hand side here, the down the line. As he does that down and forward motion, we're going to notice the arm stays in, the lead arm stays in. I'm looking at this angle here. Notice this club on the ground straight down the target line. His arm is not out. Even with that, the arm stays in. So it's a floating down and forward with the arm in. That's phase one. From there through impact then, he sets himself up to really be truly effortless, which is going to be the trail side firing through and the arm slinging off the chest, which is the phase two part. But first things first, let's talk about how we get this initial motion, the lead side, the shoulder down and forward, while keeping the lead arm in.
Okay, so there we saw very clearly the first phase of the downswing with Adam Scott, where the lead side is going down and forward as the arms are staying in. And if we focus on the body motions, right, to set up the downswing with the least amount of effort, we have to have two distinct, clear phases. And this is how I like to coach it with players I work with and my own swing. Phase number one is getting the lead side falling forward. And that you can reference with your lead shoulder, hip, or knee. And as we saw with the model there, from the top of the swing, right, he gets his lead shoulder back just inside of his trail foot up to the top, which helps. The lead shoulder goes down and forward. The lead knee goes forward. The lead hip goes forward. And my head actually goes down and forward a little bit as well. Now that kind of falling forward, as the pressure's working into my lead foot, is the first part of the downswing that's happening. The second phase is then my trail side, my hip and shoulder, firing through. So we call that right side through. So the sort of mantra I want you to have is let yourself fall down and forward and then fire the trail side through. Okay, so let me demonstrate one of those here. The lead shoulder is going down and forward, lead knee, lead hip, lead shoulder, lead side down and forward, trail side through. And the combination of those two feels really sets you up to have a lot of good things in your swing for free, which is ultimately what we want. We all want consistent contact, we want a consistent swing, and we don't want to really have to think about so many different things. Now, if we can get the lead side falling down and forward, right, if we can get that, and that's really happening from the top of the swing, about left arm parallel, right halfway down, that's when we kick in that trail side through. We don't go trail side through, then lead side down and forward. I don't even know if I could do that, right? We don't do the opposite. We go lead side down and forward, trail side through. So let's try one more together with that. Feel the lead knee, lead hip and shoulder pressing down and forward. The head can go a little bit with it, and then power this trail shoulder and trail hip through. You can have a little push off the trail foot, but you don't want to do that right away. Okay, lead side down and forward, trail side through. Yeah, nice. Now, the second part of that, right, that's the body motions that you want to get. Lead side down and forward, trail side through. And if that's where you need to focus and you have issues there, stay right there. But what our arms do matter. And basically the same thing applies, which is we have to do the right motions, the correct motions early to set ourselves up for the things we want on the way through, to set ourselves up for the effortless motion. By me getting my trail side powering through, that is effortless for me. I get a lot of really good things for free. I want the same thing with my arms and hands. And how I get the same thing with my arms and hands is I have to learn how to load and then unload my arms and hands. What does that mean? That means from here, I just put a club inside my toe line there. The arms have to stay in early when I first start down so that they can then go off through impact. So I load them and unload them. Okay, so as I start down, as my lead side's falling down and forward, my arm stays in. So relative to this line down my toe line here, if I have that straight, you can see me and you can see Adam Scott as a model, that lead arm stays in. My arms don't go way out when I start down. They stay in. And the key feel here is the lead bicep stays pressed in against the pec. So I have a little bit of a pressure here underneath. If you had like a glove under your arm, but you'd keep that squeezed in. That's staying squeezed in early. So lead side down and forward, arm stays in. Lead side down and forward, arm stays in. Once I do that first little loading phase, as my trail side powers through for phase two, what do my arms and hands do? Do they stay pressed in forever? No, they have to then go off. They have to unload, sling off of my body. And that, like getting the trail side through, is where we get all the effortless power and effortless things we want in our swing for free. So, you know, you can train this in sort of separately. If I do just the beginning phase, lead shoulder, knee, hip down and forward, keep the arms inside the club. That would be phase one. Keep the lead bicep pressed against the pec. This is the first phase. I can train that in first. And once I get a good feel for that, that might be all you need. Once I get a good feel for that, I can start to put in phase two, which is the trail side going through and the arm slinging off. Now again, we want as much of this to happen as a byproduct of earlier pieces, meaning if I get the lead side down and forward and the arms in, I should get a lot of the arms slinging off and the trail side through basically for free. If not, then I need to consciously think about them. So Lead side down and forward, trail side through. The arms are going to be in as I start down and sling off. And putting those pieces together is what's going to lead to what we're looking for, like I mentioned before, and the effortless downswing. Now, effortless in the beginning is going to come as a byproduct of some of those thoughts, training in the down and forward, keeping the arms in as I go down and forward, and then letting those arms sling off my body as my trail side works through. So ultimately for you, I don't know for sure which one of those you need. I have to see your swing. I would urge you to go to cogornogolf.com. We put that in the description down below. We built that so you could send me in your swings so myself and my team can look at those for you and diagnose, hey, you need this part. Oh no, that's good, you need more of that part. Here's the drills to do, here's the feels, here's what to expect. The same things I got from coaches that really helped my game, but you have to be able to identify the root cause and which of these you actually need to really take your game to the next level. So check out cogornogolf.com, sign up, send in your swings. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, just leave a comment down below.